What happens when our gods fall? The heroes we adore betray, and the justice we seek becomes indistinguishable from violence. At the heart of the world Alan Moore created in Watchmen, these questions cut into the fabric of morality and ideology. Many believe they understand the complex characters, but what if I told you that most have misunderstood the external truths behind Watchmen? And what if I told you that its deconstruction of superhero tropes, praised for its originality, echoes a much older and far more profound narrative structure? For this exploration of Watchmen, we'll primarily focus on the graphic novel and the recent animated adaptations. While Zack Snyder's film adaptation has its merits, it diverges significantly in its portrayal of the characters and their motivations. Let's uncover the hidden meanings behind Alan Moore's masterwork and its connection to deeper, timeless truths. From the moment the reader peels back the cover of Watchmen, they are thrust into a bleak and cynical world. Its protagonists are not joyous saviors, but deeply flawed individuals. This dystopian reality introduces us to Rorschach, a relic of a lost age of masked crime fighters. Rorschach sees himself as a singular flame in the darkness of New York City, a modern-day Sodom and Gomorrah, overrun by corruption and moral decay. Rorschach's rigid moral absolutism positions him as a Lot-like figure, set apart from the debauchery surrounding him, but unlike Lot, spared from the wrath of God. Rorschach believes he is the instrument of justice, guided by a moral code of his own making. His worldview justifies violence, murder, and an unrelenting judgment of others, while ignoring the flaws in himself. His idolization of one character in particular, the comedian, reveals deeper layers of his psyche. Rorschach idolizes the comedian, perceiving him as a patriotic figure who fights evil with conviction, much like a Captain America. But this admiration blinds Rorschach to the comedian's atrocities. His attempted rape of Sally Jupiter, his murder of a pregnant Vietnamese woman, and his exploitation of violence under the guise of heroism. The comedian, like King Saul in the Bible, appears to embody the ideal hero. He is tall, strong, charismatic, and confident. He even has a sweet mustache. Yet, just like Saul's self-serving nature led to his downfall, and his appearance was only that of someone that looked like a king, the comedian's nihilistic worldview and unrestrained cruelty reveals his true nature. For him, life is a joke, and vigilantism is a license to indulge in his darker impulses. His cynicism, however, serves a purpose: to hold a mirror to others. His confrontation with Dr. Manhattan highlights the godlike figure's detachment from humanity, further exposing the moral rot at the story's core. Dr. Manhattan is a god amongst men, wielding power beyond comprehension, the messiah of the American military-industrial complex, half man, half atomic bomb. Just like the Hebrew Messiah, Dr. Manhattan did not come to the military as they would have expected. With each step towards higher existence, he loses his humanity. This parallels Alan Moore's commentary on divinity itself. Unlike Christ, who bridges the divine and human with compassion and intimacy, Dr. Manhattan embodies a distant, indifferent God, a higher power that exists, but does not intervene in the day-to-day struggles of humanity. Manhattan's last tether to the world is Lori Jupiter, the second Silk Spectre, a woman known for the sexualized marketing of her hero persona. Like Rahab in the Book of Joshua, her sexualized past doesn't stop her from being an important figure in the story. Through her, he rediscovers the value of human life during their conversation on Mars. Lori's realization that even her flawed and chaotic existence is miraculous persuades Manhattan to act. Her character represents a large portion of humanity, aimless yet capable of profound impact when confronted with their place in the universe. Ozymandias, the world's smartest man, is a Solomon-like figure. Wealthy, wise, and seemingly virtuous. Yet, like Solomon, his wisdom becomes his downfall. Convinced of his own moral superiority, he orchestrates a mass genocide to unite the world under a false peace. His plan succeeds, seemingly gaining even the approval of Dr. Manhattan. But it highlights the dangers of unchecked ambition and hubris. By aligning himself with historical conquerors like Alexander the Great, Ozymandias reveals his true motivation. Not to save the world, but to cement his legacy as a godlike figure. In doing so, he becomes the embodiment of humanity's flaws, a testament to the corruptibility of even the most gifted and well-intentioned individuals. Some would say Ozymandias is the perfect human, because he perfectly represents all of our flaws. Dan Dreiberg, the second Night Owl, is the most unassuming of the Watchmen. He appears to be a Boy Scout-like hero, akin to a Cyclops, driven by desire to do good, yet his motivations are far from pure. Beneath the surface, Dan craves the power and purpose his costume gives him. His story really parallels that of Judas Iscariot. Like Judas, who followed Christ for selfish reasons, Dan hides his true intentions behind the facade of righteousness. Dan's betrayal, though, is not against God, but against his friend Rorschach and humanity itself. He chooses to suppress the truth about Ozymandias' plan, prioritizing his personal comfort and his relationship with Lori over justice. In this, he represents the death of the traditional comic book hero archetype, a recurring theme in Moore's deconstruction of the genre. So why would Alan Moore kill every popular superhero archetype? He killed the patriot and the comedian and turned him into either a fascist or a Nazi. He killed the detective, who's maybe a little overly violent, and he made him a raging lunatic. He killed the Boy Scout, who only wants to see good done at all costs, and he made him someone that only wants the suit for power and the approval of his peers. He killed the humanitarian, who only wants world peace, and made him achieve that through genocide. Alan Moore's Watchmen is steeped in his anarchist beliefs and esoteric practices, presenting a nihilistic view of humanity and heroism. By breaking down traditional superhero archetypes, Moore subverts expectation and forces readers to confront uncomfortable truths about morality, power, and the human condition. But, due to his worldview, there can't be any good in these characters' intentions, because there is no inherent good in the world. And that's just a bleak way of looking at humanity. However, while Watchmen is a groundbreaking work, its approach is not unique. For millennia, the stories of the Bible have employed similar techniques, challenging preconceived notions of heroism and virtue. Unintentionally, Alan Moore is drawing from these eternal truths when he breaks down his heroes in Watchmen. As J.R.R. Tolkien observed, all myths, even those marred by error, reflect fragments of the eternal truth found in God. Watchmen remains a masterful piece of art and literature, one that reshapes the superhero genre. Yet, it is not the first of its kind. Its deconstructive approach owes much of its timeless storytelling traditions to the Bible with its ancient narratives. By echoing these eternal truths, Watchmen transcends its genre, offering readers a mirror to examine their own flawed ideologies and morality. In a world inundated with Watchmen imitators, like the Boys and Invincible, Alan Moore's work stands apart, not as the origin of deconstruction, but as a continuation of humanity's oldest and most profound storytelling tradition.